Trump, or stumping for Trump out there at these various events. So you'll see that tonight in Nevada as we are approaching. Now we're at 12:30 Eastern time. This should happen at any moment there with President Trump taking to that podium there. Director, I'm not sure if our cam up can pull out just a little bit. We just want to see maybe just some more of what that scene looks like there at that press conference in Los Angeles. In the meantime, again, this is an RSBN doubleheader that you can watch anywhere on Rumble, on YouTube, on our app, on our website, also on X, on Facebook, and on Truth Social now. Always good. If you go to RSBN's Truth Social account, at the top there, you'll see kind of 3 or 4 red lines kind of showing that it's live. Just click on that and you can watch us live as well. So as we take that, hopefully a little bit closer of or at least a pull out of a wider shot there, you can see that is below there. Maybe we can move with that lower third too and see the golf course. That's the Trump National Golf Club in Los Angeles right there as we await President Trump to take to that press conference podium right there. So again, we know about later today with Nevada. We also know that there are the 7 electoral swing states, the swing states, the 7 at play with 93 electoral votes at stake. So we'll be looking at all of these states as we get closer to the election. Of course, President Trump traveling to a lot of these places for rallies and events and fundraisers. And always good to see that out there, and we'll bring you all the live coverage we can. So we know that, of course, fake news is something that President Trump has spoken about, and that is now a common phrase, not only in this country, around the world. And to be out of that, to be in conservative media and more of the real news, right? More of the Common Sense News Network. Common Sense News Network, CSNN, basically. That's more about what Right Side Broadcasting is all about, is common sense and pro free speech and pro our Constitution. So we're glad you guys are joining us right now here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. I'm Matthew Alvarez here, waiting along with you guys right now for President Trump. We're going to see what kind of news items are discussed here at this presser. We'll be able to bring that to you live as well from wall to wall. We won't be going to any commercial breaks or dipping out of any coverage. We'll be taking it as soon as he steps to that podium there. Of course, meeting a number of people, shaking hands, taking photos and that kind of thing, but also working on, I believe, the plan moving forward for today's presser. So we'll see what he has to say. We'll have that live here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Let's go to Truth Social real quick and see some of the activity there on Truth. We know President Trump talking about all of the debate talk that's out there. There's so many people talking about it, and we know that President Trump won that debate as there were 3-on-1 Democrats against one constitutional Republic conservative candidate there, the Republican candidate for president. So we know that he took it on and he still stood there strong and shared with the American people what he wants to do for this country. So if you're just joining us, we reviewed some of the 20 GOP platforms okay, I'm hearing something that we're going to be hearing, we're going to be seeing right there, some live pictures of the motorcade headed toward the Trump National Golf Club in Los Angeles. So that's just one piece of video right there. As you think about the I-10 or the I-5 there in Los Angeles, how packed and crowded that is. But at the end of the day, a lot of security there as President Trump heads to the golf course. I remember I was able to ride in a motorcade one time with President Trump. I was in one of the press vans toward the back, but boy, quite the experience there. That was in New Hampshire. If you guys remember, we were headed to one of the New Hampshire headquarters for President Trump, and he stopped in there and Had a great time there meeting with people. And that was the day that Ron DeSantis decided to drop out of the presidential race. And I remember asking President Trump, does that mean you're going to stop using the name Ron DeSanctimonious? And he said that name was retired, he said. Pretty cool moment in time. A lot of other media picked it up, and don't care really about the left-wing mainstream press, but it was a cool moment to see that he retired that name, and since then, we know that Ron DeSantis, the governor in Florida, doing the best he can to keep that a great state that it is, and a free state there in Florida. So that motorcade was quite the experience as a journalist. It's something that you don't usually get to do, right? Like, you think about years past, and you usually don't get that kind of access. And Right Side Broadcasting Network has been there every step of the way since 2015, all the way until 2024, covering various rallies, various events, various congressional hearings, or amazing moments in political history out there. We've been there for it, to cover it, and to listen to President Trump's speeches, but also to show the crowd. That's the main key, right? That's the bread and butter right there, is to be able to show everybody what is actually happening at the event, to be able to have that wide shot of the crowd. Obviously, this is more of a press conference, so all you'd see there is press. Who wants to see fake news press, right? But that's what Right Side's all about when it comes to showing really what's happening at the various events throughout the country. So we know tonight he'll be in Nevada. He'll be in Michigan on Tuesday, New York on Wednesday for that huge rally. And then he will be speaking at the Israeli-American Council National Summit, September 19th through the 21st. So that's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll see which day he's actually slated to speak for that. So very busy week next week as we get closer and closer to the election, 53 days out from that. And a lot of talk on both sides of the aisle about various topics, including the SAVE Act, which would prevent non-citizens from voting in our elections. So the SAVE Act needs to be passed, of course. There's discussion about the attempted assassination as well. That's a lot of rumblings going on there in DC about that. I'm not going to speak to that right now because I'm here live with you, and I have to be able to be contacting sources there on Capitol Hill in order to speak accurately about that. So I'm not going to be fake news. I'm going to be real with you here and let you know what I know. But at the end of the day, we know that President Trump will be speaking shortly here in Los Angeles, as we are about 2.5 hours into our live coverage here. We shared with you a couple of our interviews we had. Also, we'll be having some more interviews later today. Carla Sands, the former ambassador to Denmark, will join us later today in our Las Vegas, Nevada broadcast live with us on Right Side Broadcasting Network. That's slated for around 8 p.m., depending on pre-programmed speakers and depending on some other things, but we'll be having her live here. Also, Bobby McNeely and Megan Kohler will be interviewing a number of people out there on the ground in Las Vegas, and including on that media riser. Sometimes you never know which conservative political known politician or someone running for office will be able to join them as well. So a long day ahead of us. Thank you for listening to me here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. I'm waiting, of course, as you are, for President Trump to take to that podium there in Los Angeles, California, as President Trump will be wrapping up this West Coast tour later tonight in Nevada. So we are hearing that there may be some movement going on. We did see that the motorcade driving on the highway there on the way to that event there. In the meantime, as soon as President Trump takes that to that podium, we'll go there live. But let's thank MyPillow.com, the great Mike Lindell. A great sale. Look at that, $14.98. A box store cancellation. So that means there are some standard My Pillows for $14.98. Use the promo code RSBN. Get in there while those products are still available. Of course, so many great products with Mike Lindell, from the slides to the slippers to the towels to the sheets. to the pillows. There's also a mattress topper, a mattress, so many products there at mypillow.com. So use that promo code RSBN for some deep discounts, including this blowout sale you see there, $14.98. Not bad for a great product. MyPillow.com. Support Mike Lindell and RSBN by shopping now at MyPillow.com using that promo code RSBN. Let's take a live look back there in Los Angeles right now as we await President Trump. Let's see if we have anyone in the chats that are watching from Rumble or YouTube. Go ahead and throw in there if you're watching on Rumble or YouTube or on X or Facebook. Always good to see everyone out there, showing support for the platform that they like to watch on. Of course, Rumble, a great free conservative, I'll say free. They have a lot of conservative people on there as well, but all about pro-free speech, all about the Constitution. So it's also great to have Right Side Broadcasting Network to be broadcast live on Rumble right now, on YouTube, on our app, our website, and on X and Facebook. So awaiting this press conference for President Trump. I'm Matthew Alvarez. For those of you that just joined, for the audience that's watching right now, they've been listening to me talk for quite some time, but we are waiting for President Trump to take to that podium there. If you'd like to follow me on Truth, it's at Matthew Alvarez. Of course, Bobby McNeely and Megan Kohler will be live in Las Vegas later today for a huge rally in Vegas. It's going to be quite awesome there. Looking forward to that. This is an RSBN doubleheader that we have coverage in California and then over to Nevada. So we'll see what happens today with President Trump's press conference. We'll see what information he shares with the American people. And we'll have some more interviews later today. Right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. So that other coverage for our Nevada stream starts at 3 o'clock Eastern. So 3 o'clock Eastern, there'll be a separate stream to click on. This one, of course, is the Los Angeles press conference stream, pushing 2 hours, 42 minutes now since our start of our live coverage here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We know that the press conference was slated for 12 p.m. Eastern. Obviously a little bit behind schedule on that. That's all right. We'll be waiting the president to hear the information that he has to say about our country and any topics that he'll be bringing up here shortly on Right Side. So we were talking before about the fake news. It's thanks to President Trump and thanks to Rush Limbaugh, right? The late Rush Limbaugh for conservatism and when it comes to the freedom of the press and for real news to be able to get through all of the junk that's out there on the left-wing press, the mainstream media that has been lying to so many people for so many years. Going to college, I went to Robert Morris University out in Pittsburgh and was able to meet a number of people that were speaking at the Heinz Ketchup, right? It was a Heinz-sponsored speakers series. People like James Carville there, Walter Cronkite in his latter years showed up to this speaker series at Robert Morris. And as a young journalist at the local station there that aired around the college campus, myself and another journalist was able to shake hands with Walter Cronkite. And at an internship, met Peter Jennings in Pittsburgh when I was an intern at the ABC affiliate there. So to be around some of these people and to see that these are these mega stars when it comes to television, right? But at the end of the day, regardless of being known or not being known, if you don't stand for truth, if you don't stand for the Constitution, if you don't stand for the Judeo-Christian beliefs of this country, you're fake news. So I didn't know then how deep this would get for this country. We were brought up in such a free society that our concerns weren't about losing any freedoms or the fork in the road that we're about to face. So it's been quite the journey to lead us to this point here today. So as President Trump mentions on some of his speeches, he says all of his life has led him to this point and has prepared him for this point. So it'll be great to hear him today at this press conference as we hope and work and vote for our candidate of choice and the common sense candidate, the people's president. And as I mentioned on Truth Social, there is no debate. We, the people, support Donald J. Trump. So a lot of talk back and forth that you guys hear from maybe some other left-wing people out there, but at the end of the day, you'll hear from this network, as you'll see later today with Megan Kohler, two people in there. Hello. You'll hear from Bobby McNeely and Megan Kohler later today in Las Vegas, people that are also on the right side of history here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. So this is something that is very new to a lot of people, right? I know there's a lot of faithful viewers that helped build this entire network since 2015. Talk about grassroots, right? Has built it from a family of believers, a family that loves this country and loves freedom and loves pro-free speech and wanted to show the crowds. It's as simple as that. President Trump was at these events back in the day, right? And they'd say the mainstream media, they won't turn the cameras around on the tripods. Well, Right Side Broadcasting Network did. And here we are today in 2024, 9 years later, here just to share with you truth, but also President Trump's speeches and also the rallies and the events, and hear from the American people. Totally a new way of doing things, right? In the sense of not drilling, brainwashing left-wing material to you, but instead common sense, freedom, the Constitution, our country, land of the free, home of the brave, land of the free. So we are here for you, and we love doing this because it helps keep the true narrative and the rapid response of the false narrative. It keeps the true narrative alive, because if you take someone's speech, if you shut down freedom of the press, if you shut down freedom of speech, then everyone may think it's a certain way. The fake news can just say, oh, everything's good. Just keep doing this, keep doing that, and they'll keep brainwashing, right? So to have a voice like many of you may have or may not have, we're with you with that, to be able to speak freely our thoughts and our heart about the country and about what we're facing coming up this November in 53 days from now. As you guys know, it's a very real thing. Whether you're watching right now at your house, whether you're watching at your workplace, whether you're on a boat, on a plane, wherever you guys are watching right now, we're all in this together as we move forward. So when we hear that press conference today with President Trump, we know that's somebody that literally has put his life on the line and is continuing to do that in the face of all the lawfare. Just remember, all of the lawfare that's happening and all of the attacks that he has faced, it's not just because of Donald Trump. It's not just because he is a successful businessman. It's not because he is an entertainer. It's not because he's charismatic. It's not because he did great as a real estate mogul. It's because he's standing for the freedom of this country and is representing we the people. So that's why they're throwing all that hate towards Donald Trump. They don't want that leader. They don't want that leader, but guess who does? We, the people, want President Trump. So, and I want President Trump to show up here at this podium, and I know he will on his time when he is ready and when he is there. It's going to be a great press conference today on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We'll see what he has to say. We don't know what the presser is going to be about today. Remember, recently, as I mentioned earlier, at Trump Tower, it was about refuting all of the lawfare coming against him. So what will today's press conference be? We don't know. We'll be watching here with you. We do know that it takes a few dollars to travel the country and bring you all this live footage. So if you'd like to donate, if you'd like to chip in at all, it's RSBN to 801-801. So text RSBN to 801-801. It'll take you to a page that if you'd like to donate a few dollars, great. If one of you out there has a few extra bucks, please go ahead and donate to RSBN to 801-801. Obviously, times are tough with Bidenomics, and it's in some ways living paycheck to paycheck. I get that. And especially, I spoke before about some of you out there that are looking for work, whatever industry it is, to just keep praying, keep working hard, keep going, keep believing, don't quit. Trust me, it works. You got to keep on keeping on. and don't quit. But if you do have an extra few bucks, please chip into RSBN 801-801 to keep the lights on, right? To keep everything going here. We've got the great sponsors here at Right Side, but also it's you, the viewers, that have really helped build this network as well. It's all of us together. A lot of you guys out there that have been watching since day one. That's 9 years of coverage. That's a lot of coverage. It's a lot of red, white, and blue. And that's what we're about here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're about red, white, and blue. We're about the American flag. We're about Old Glory. We're about the soil of this land. We're about America. We're about it. We love this nation, and we want other countries, at least I do, right? A lot of us want other countries to have freedom as well. We like being the leader of the free world, and we want freedom to continue around this world. But we know so many times with some of the people like Maduro and Venezuela and others, they just take it all away from the people. And we're just not going to have that here in this country. We're going to vote as hard as we can. We're going to pray as hard as we can and work as hard as we can to get the job done this election. So RSBN to 801-801. Thank you so much for chipping in just a few bucks if you can here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. It is 12:51 on the East Coast, 9:51 on the West Coast. You saw that video earlier, President Trump in a motorcade on the way to Los Angeles. Obviously, when you look at Los Angeles, you think, well, it's supposed to be blue skies and beautiful. Well, as you guys know, too, it's a little cloudy, a little foggy in the morning there, but that cloud will be able to hopefully clear out, and there'll be some sunny skies. Let's go to yesterday's soundbite with President Trump. He was talking about no tax on overtime tips. No tax on overtime tips. Take a listen.
I'm also announcing that as part of our additional tax cuts, we will end all taxes on overtime. You know what that means? Think of that. Think of that. Think of that. That gives people more of an incentive to work. It gives the companies it's a lot easier to get the people. And, you know, I went to some economists, great ones, and I said, what do you think? They said, it would be unbelievable. You'll get a whole new workforce by doing that. No taxes on overtime. The people who work overtime are among the hardest working citizens in our country. And for too long, no one in Washington has been looking out for them. Those are the people that really work. They're police officers, nurses, factory workers, construction workers, truck drivers, and machine operators. It's time for the working man and woman to finally catch a break, and that's what we're doing, because this is a good one. And I think it's going to be great for the country. So that's why we will be saying that if you're an overtime worker, when you're past 40 hours a week, think of that. Your overtime hours will be tax-free. Okay, good. You're going to have it too.
And on top of that, no tax on tips. So that great for a place like LA, Vegas, Nashville, New York, Miami, and all places across the country. As we are taking a live look there in LA, as it's a cloudy, kind of foggy morning there. I'm sure that those clouds will dissipate, and you'll be able to see, hopefully, the Pacific Ocean. That's actually right on the other side of that golf course there. So making America not only great again, which entails the following things: make America safe again, make America secure again, make America wealthy again, and make America great again. Of course, some of the things that we are hoping to see happen here in this country. Excuse me. President Trump talking about no tax on overtime tips. That sounds great too, right? Sounds awesome, because at the end of the day, we work for our money. We want to keep our money. Yes, we have to pay some tax, but unfortunately, taxes have skyrocketed so much. But it's what we have to do right now here in this country. Once again, President Trump winding down this the West Coast tour, but out with a great event in Vegas tonight, as he will speak at any moment there in Los Angeles. Thanks so much for sticking with us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're waiting patiently, just like you are, for President Trump to take to that podium there. Maybe we can get a little bit more of a wider angle there to see maybe the Trump-Vance sign there in front of that podium, and just kind of get a feel for the region there in this Trump National Golf Club in Los Angeles, California. So again, this is a doubleheader on RSBN today. We'll be in Vegas tonight. We'll have a lot of interviews with people outside of the Vegas Expo Center there. It will be an awesome event. And we'll hear from the pre-program speakers as well. And then we'll hear from President Trump. Now that's at 7 tonight, Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern is when President Trump is expected to take the stage in Vegas tonight. So he'll be obviously right there at that press conference to begin any moment right now. You see some movement in the camera vantage point there. So that may mean that they may be getting a 2-minute warning. I haven't heard that yet, but having worked at some of these press conferences, you always hear maybe a 2-minute warning. Again, have not heard that or confirmed that, but when you do see people moving around a little bit, you might have that happening at any moment. So you're watching live coverage right here on Right Side Broadcasting as some of the camera operators from the other affiliates, as you see there on your screen, getting ready. I mean, all of the camera ops, by the way, at Right Side Broadcasting, that's not one of them, but are rock stars. They do such an awesome job. All of the ones since day one here at Right Side Broadcasting Network in 2015 all the way till now have traveled thousands and thousands of miles across this country constantly. I think we should actually talk to some of the leadership here at the network and find out maybe a general guess on how many miles our people have traveled covering President Trump from coast to coast, even all the way up to Alaska, down to Florida, New Hampshire, Iowa, Pennsylvania, Arizona, today in California, Nevada, Michigan on Tuesday, New York for that huge rally in Uniondale on Long Island at the old New York Islanders hockey arena. If you guys are from Long Island, any of you watching, even if it's 10 of you watching from Long Island, or if it's 20,000, who knows the number, but the point is, let's see that Long Island event be very, very loud for President Trump. I'm sure it will be, just as it is at every event. But I know the people of Long Island, man, they talk about Trump country. Long Island is Trump country. And parts of New York are too, in the sense of New York City, the Bronx as well, as we've been to some events there. So we're going to listen to some music here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're going to hang out and relax, but we're going to stick to the screen there, and we're going to be waiting for President Trump to take to the podium right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. And we are waiting here for President Trump to go to that podium there for that press conference. Thanks for hanging tight with us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Of course, we'll be bringing this press conference to you live from start to finish. And then later today as well for the huge rally in Nevada. Now, I was talking about some of the proposals that President Trump is doing. We know there is no tax on tips, and then he proposed no tax on overtime. Earlier, I said no tax on overtime tips. I meant to say no tax on overtime is what President Trump proposed yesterday on top of the no tax on tips. Two separate things. I just wanted to correct that here for you here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Awaiting President Trump there in Los Angeles. That's the Trump National Golf Club there. Usually when it's not foggy or cloudy, you'll see the Pacific Ocean right behind the golf course there. So a nice backdrop there when it's a beautiful sunny day. Maybe it will be a little bit sunnier later today. But we know that President Trump on his way there right now. The RSBN newsletter, I want to tell you about that real quick. All you have to do is go to rsbnetwork.com/newsletter. So actually in your email inbox, you'll be able to get great information from Right Side Broadcasting Network, whether it's about a rally, an event, or a story that we want to share with you, or some also some updates and exclusive offers right there. rsbnetwork.com/newsletter. You can go there and sign up now if you'd like. President Trump on Truth Social recently, of course, saying massive news. The Department of Justice just released brand new crime data showing I was absolutely and completely right at the debate. In fact, the data is even worse than we could ever imagine. Compared to 2020, violent crime is up nearly 40%. Rape is up 42%. Aggravated assaults up 55%. Violent crime with a weapon up 56%. Violent attacks on strangers are up 61%. Car theft is up 42%. And according to President Trump here, this is, again, the Department of Justice released these brand new crime data statistics. Also, President Trump was saying that car theft is up 42%, and the most serious forms of violent crime are up 55%. Our cities are under siege, President Trump says, and this does not include the migrant crime and the migrant rape spree that has overtaken our cities in recent months. Kamala crime is destroying America, and gangs are taking over. So thanks to our COO here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, passing that message along to me. I know we've seen that on Truth Social recently, but that is some serious criminal stats that we just saw there, crime stats that we know through law and order and through a closed southern border and through making America secure once again, making America safe once again, would cut down on all of these problems. I mean, think about, the amount of problems that we're facing in this country, as you guys know, from the crime to the economy, to the southern border, to the drug cartel situation, to the violence of the gang violence as well, to the possibility of constitutional rights being stripped from our nation. Like, they might say they love the Constitution, they might say we the people, but actions speak way louder than words. And we know what happened in Minnesota. For those of you guys that are watching from Minnesota today, we know that Walz, the lovely governor up there, had a snitch line for those that weren't following COVID-19 protocols. Or if you were out on your porch, you were forced into your home via paintballs that were shot at. Remember, this is not, I'm not just picking this up out of thin air. This is stuff that we've seen reported on not only national news, but also video of these actual incidents happening. So they act like right now, oh, we're just we're fighting for the American people. We're fighting for the middle class. Well, they're not doing any of that. What they want to do is, obviously, as you guys know, they just want to drive their radical left, terrible agenda, right down to this country, destroy what this country was founded on, destroy the morality of this country, destroy the Judeo-Christian principles, rip and shred our beautiful document, the Constitution of the United States, and in some ways destroy our flag, right? I mean, there's so many things that they want to do to this country. They want to just tear it down. So what we're looking to do here is vote, pray, and work hard for President Trump to be the commander-in-chief, to drain the swamp, and to make America great again. As we await President Trump in Los Angeles, it's 1:14 Eastern. That is 10:14 on the east or on the West Coast. And then President Trump will head to Las Vegas for a rally later today. So you and I are waiting here together. At this point, I know that you've been staying with us for quite some time. Those of you that have stuck with us, thank you so much. But we're waiting for President Trump there. So many things ahead for our country, either really good things or really bad things. It literally comes down to that, guys. It's common sense, as you guys know. And that's what President Trump talks about. It's this common sense leadership that he would provide for us. So obviously hoping to see that come to pass 53 days from now, so we can stop talking about all of this stuff. I don't want to have to talk about migrant crime. I don't want to have to talk about constitutional freedoms being possibly taken. I don't want to talk about the negative things that are happening to our country. I'd rather talk about how we have peace through strength. I'd rather talk about how the economy is doing well. I'd rather talk about the pride that is restored to our country for the red, white, and blue. I'd rather talk about how other countries are seeing freedom around the world thanks to the leader of the free world and the leading nation of the free world, this US of A. I'd rather talk about that. You know, a lot of times on the left, they always want to cover those negative stories and bring up all this hate and I get sometimes we get upset over here on the right too, but at the end of the day, like President Trump said, he is angry. Why wouldn't he be? The lawfare and all of the attacks, personal attacks, and all of the situations he's dealt with J13 and trying to and spying on his campaign, stealing an election, all these kind of things that he's taken on. So we know why he's upset, and obviously has the right to be upset. He's standing there for us, the people. This isn't just against President Trump. When there's all these things that are happening, it's not only to President Trump, it is to every one of us Americans that believe in this Constitution and believe in the Bible. And if you don't believe in the Bible, that's obviously, we might have different opinions. It's part of America. But the point is, we have to still win an election, right? And we have to have freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion. Director, if you can share with me again on which sponsor we should go to right now. All right, let's go to the wellness company. The wellness company, makecaregreatagain.com. Ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, amoxicillin, a Z-Pack, all of these great prescriptions in these medical emergency kits and contagion emergency kits. Very cool stuff right here. Always good to have this, whether it's at your workplace or at your house, in the car, to knock out bacteria and viruses that might be trying to sneak up on you. Ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, Z-Pack, amoxicillin, makecaregreatagain.com. There's other medications as well, but the point is, there's nothing in these actual ones here because I didn't fill out a form with makecaregreatagain.com. They sent us what the kits look like, but the point is, what you'll get is, if you get one or maybe both or maybe a number of them, you'll get this shipped to your house. You'll fill out a medical form at makecaregreatagain.com, and then you'll get the right medications that line up with what you're able to get. And you'll be talking with medical professionals in order to get the correct prescriptions for you. So use that promo code RSBN for 15% off. That's the wellness company. Great kits right there that can be sent to your house right away as soon as you order. Press conference starting at any moment, as you guys see there, and as we await President Trump to take to that podium there in Los Angeles. Hopefully the clouds clear up there and show how beautiful that spot is right there. Again, if you're just joining us, if you actually look on DuckDuckGo and you just type in the search engine, type in Trump National Golf Club, Los Angeles, and click on images, you're going to see some beautiful scenery there in LA. a beautiful golf course, beautiful building, and then right there, that fog that you see out there, that's actually the Pacific Ocean. So it's a beautiful backdrop in Los Angeles as President Trump, again, wrapping up a 3-day, a 3-state, 2-day tour on the West Coast, heading to Las Vegas next. So first there at that press conference, and then, of course, to Las Vegas after that. Director, if we could pull up that Carolyn Levitt post. I think she posted on X or maybe Truth Social about what she was saying about the upcoming press conference. So happening soon, Carolyn Levitt, of course, with the Trump campaign. President Trump hosting a press conference in Kamala's home state of California. You won't want to miss this, exclamation point. So that is this press conference you're about to see right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's 1:19 p.m. here on Friday, September 13th, 2024. A very tough week as well, of course, with September 11th, President Trump visiting the friends and family of loved ones that were lost on 9/11 in Lower Manhattan just the other day for that ceremony. He was there. And then, of course, over to that FDNY fire station. We had that live coverage here as he was paying his respects to the people that lost their lives on that day. 2,977 people. Then President Trump went west about 300 miles to Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where Flight 93 went down. 44 people died in that plane crash some 23 years ago, September 11th, 23 years ago from Wednesday. So, going forward, we're looking for peace, strength, security, prosperity, freedom in this country. So we'll hear soon what President Trump has to say on this Friday morning for the people out there on the West Coast, and 10:20 in the morning out there. And then, of course, just afternoon in the East Coast, 1:21 Eastern time. So I'm Matthew Alvarez here, holding down the fort with you guys. We're all waiting here together, waiting for President Trump to take to that podium there. It'll be interesting to see if will there be another proposal shared. Yesterday's he had proposed no tax on overtime. That was something brand new yesterday in Tucson, Arizona. So no tax on overtime, and then no tax on tips. So President Trump, knowing what it's like when it comes to business, and having people that work hard, earn their money, not to have those taxed would be obviously wonderful. I've worked in the service industry myself. I've bussed tables before. I've worked in delivery jobs before. And whenever you get a tip, you don't want to have that taxed. Or if you're working overtime, how great would that be not to be taxed for that overtime pay? Quite awesome stuff. So again, to those of you out there that are looking for work, keep on keeping on. You got to pray hard, work hard, and it'll come together. Don't lose hope. And that's one thing that I like about April 4th, 2023, President Trump, that first day that he received some of the lawfare counts against him, the indictment that came down, he said to never lose hope. Even though it's a dark day in America, never lose hope. And that's what we're not going to ever lose as Americans, regardless. We're not going to lose our hope. We're not going to lose our faith. We're going to keep on, keep it on, and work hard and see President Trump get back in the White House. And outside of that, still be strong as ever, because that's what you have to do, right? Unless someone is a sheeple and they just follow whatever else is going on, that's not really what we're called to do here in this country and around the world for the freedom, the people that love freedom. It takes courage to do what we're doing here. And it takes a lot of courage when you see Las Vegas later today with Bobby McNeely and Megan Kohler live outside of Las Vegas. That coverage starts now within an hour and a half at 3:00 Eastern. You're going to see so many people that are out there in line, some of them waiting since yesterday. Literally, I remember in Johnstown, PA, with Titus Ellis Smith, I talked to 4 people that were at the front of the line. They waited since the night before. Of course, they want to see President Trump. It's exciting to see President Trump, but this is also about inspiration and motivation and momentum for our country as well. As there's President Trump right now. Let's go there live in Los Angeles.
I'd like to introduce the mayor of Rancho Palos Verdes, who's been a very popular mayor, has done a fantastic job. And he's really something very special. John Crookshank, and he'll say a few words about 2 miles up the road. They're having some problems with slides into a thing called the Pacific Ocean. And a lot of people would like to hear about it and what the mayor's doing to get it remedied, and he'll take care of it. So, John, please.
Well, I was only expecting to come speak with the president today, and he's gracious enough to invite me to speak to you all, which is an important moment for the city of Rancho Palos Verdes. In 2002, the Trump golf course opened up here, and they've been a great business here in our community. As the president mentioned, our city has been having a lot of issues with a landslide that's less than a mile from here. We have about 600 homes, several thousand residents that have been affected. They've lost power, gas, and it's been moving at an unprecedented rate for the last couple of years because of the rain. We believe we can solve the problem, but we really need the assistance of the state of California and the federal government. We have solutions out there for that, but the problem is bigger than the city of Rancho Palos Verdes. And so it's important that we get the attention and the help of the people of California and of the federal government. So I'm here to thank the president of having me here today. Obviously, I'm a tiny bit nervous. This is a very big deal. Oh, thank you. So anyhow, we very much appreciate you all being here. And of course, I know you're here for the president, but covering what's going on in our city is really important. And it's meant a lot to our community of 42,000 people. So thank you so much.
And the federal government, and so far they're missing in action. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. This is Trump National Los Angeles, and it's been a tremendous success for a long time. I guess Lily would be 18 or 19 years, I think, right? And I built it. I have a little bit of a motto, but we never have to advertise because it's always loaded up with golfers, very good golfers. It's a world championship course. It fronts on the Pacific Ocean, as you can see. It actually fronts, very few courses front on the Pacific Ocean. It's Pebble Beach and there's some others, but I always say, I have the ocean, Pebble Beach has the bay. The ocean's better than the bay. And this course is one of the best courses anywhere in the world, and it's done really well, and we've had a lot of fun with it, so it's been great. It's a major property, as you can imagine. We do also lots of weddings and lots of events, and in the ballroom right behind you. And people get married literally on a nightly basis looking over the Pacific Ocean. So we have something that's very special. We're proud of it. Well, thank you all for being here. Before we begin, I want to express my support for all of the families affected by the landslides in Rancho Palos Verdes. The slides are something can be taken care of. This area is very solid, but you go down a couple of miles down, you'll see something that's pretty amazing. The mountain is moving, and it can be stopped, but they need some help from the government. So I hope they get the help, and I'm sure John will have the help. And I want to thank the mayor for the great job he's doing. I tell that to the people. What a great job he's doing. I just met with the mayor and especially want to salute all of the public safety and emergency personnel who are working down the road. as well as the utility workers who are fighting to restore service to local residents. It's another thing when you live along the coast. Sometimes that happens. It's a little bit more difficult, but when they fix it, there's nothing like it. There really is nothing like it. I'm here today in California with a very simple message for the American people. We cannot allow Comrade Kamala Harris and the communist left to do to America what they did to California. The state of California is a mess with people leaving, and nothing's going to stop them. They're going to other states. Some are going to other countries. But what they've done, Gavin Newsom and Kamala, and I want to say Kamala more so, she destroyed San Francisco and she destroyed the state. When you look at the kind of destruction that's taken place, it's all man-made or woman-made destruction too. It's things that should have never happened, but we're not going to let that happen with 4 more years of her in the White House, because if you have what happened to this country as what they allowed to happen in California and San Francisco, one of the great cities of the world 15 years ago, and today it's not in a very good position, put it mildly, in this state, which is probably the best piece of real estate in the world. The state, you have the sunshine, you have the ocean, you have everything, you have the perfect weather, the best weather, and they've hurt it so badly. So badly. Decades ago, San Francisco was known as one of the most beautiful cities anywhere in the world. A friend of mine, a friend of a lot of the people here, Bob Tisch, used to say San Francisco is the best city in the United States, the best city there is. And he passed away a number of years ago, but he wouldn't believe it. He used to always talk about San Francisco as our greatest city. He owned Lowe's, good company, great company. And he would say it constantly, and now you see what's happened. And it can be brought back, just like our country can be brought back, because we're a nation in decline. The decline of this whole state is one of the sad chapters in what's gone on with the radical left lunatics that we have to put up with. As the San Francisco district attorney, Kamala was the godmother of sanctuary cities. She was right out there at the forefront, and also the movement of defunding the police. She was there right at the beginning. She boasted, quote, "We are a sanctuary city and we always will be." Well, they're sanctuary cities of crime. One of the people that Kamala gave sanctuary city to and put in as DA was Edwin Ramos, an illegal alien MS-13 gang member who savagely murdered a father and his 2 sons after mistaking them for members of a rival gang. She knew this, and she came to his defense. He had previously been arrested for robbing a pregnant woman and killing many, they say. Kamala refused to get him out of our country, and he went on to do very significant damage. She also gave sanctuary to illegal alien Ronnie Aguilera, who murdered a 14-year-old boy, nearly decapitating him with a sword. He enjoyed watching this take place with a sword by his hand. Kamala launched her tenure as DA with a San Francisco police group described as a, quote, fire sale for plea deals. They made plea deals. The only one they don't make a plea deal with is Trump. They go after their political opponent, especially when they haven't done anything wrong. So more charges were dropped yesterday in Atlanta, Georgia. It's all politically inspired. It's all against their political opponent. We won the case in the big case. They said the big case, the big case. I've completely won that case. The documents case in Florida. Case was thrown out with deranged Jack Smith, deranged prosecutor, that if he devoted his efforts to violent crime and to the border, which they should have, would be in a lot better position as a country. In one sweetheart deal, Kamala gave only 12 years to a monster known as David Taylor, who got high on crack and murdered a 65-year-old mother with a hammer and a pair of scissors. He wanted to come out, and she wanted to get him out as quickly as possible. And another plea deal, she gave only 6 years to a man who killed a disabled veteran with a knife and then left his body to rot in a bathtub. Kamala refused to seek the death penalty for a gang member who murdered San Francisco police officer Isaac Espinoza during a traffic stop, very innocent traffic stop. She didn't have the decency to call his family, never did, to explain her decision. Why would you do this? Why would you give such leniency to somebody that just killed the police officer, but her son? This was a major reason why the San Francisco Police Officers Association has refused to endorse her in every single race since she became district attorney. The police don't endorse her. She's got virtually no endorsements now, but I have almost every police group in the United States. We just got the endorsement of almost 400,000 police. You saw that the other day. The Fraternal Order. And it's the largest police group in the country. But we have the endorsement of every sheriff, just about every single police group in the United States. And unadulterated, they are so happy to endorse. After Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom took charge of San Francisco, homelessness increased by over 200%. While Comrade Kamala Harris was Attorney General of this state, murders rose significantly. Car thefts went through the roof. Gun assaults rose at levels never seen before. And forcible rape went up by much more than the 73% that they reported. As Attorney General, she defined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as nonviolent crimes. She put them in a new category as nonviolent. Now, as vice president, she's facilitated the largest wave of sex trafficking and human trafficking in history, the history of our country by far. And in case you don't want to write about it, but you should, because there can be no bigger scandal than this, we have, under this administration, 325,000 migrant children are missing. 325,000. In other words, take your biggest stadium in California and you could fill it up 5 or 6 times. Those are all missing children. Many of them are dead. Many of them are sex slaves and slaves of different nature. But her destruction of the law and order in California did not end there. In 2020, Kamala Harris proudly endorsed defund the police. We're going to defund the police. Anybody that was even in favor of defunding the police for 1 month, let alone her entire career, should never be president of the United States. She supported a plan to cut the LA Police Department by at least $150 million and ideally more. This is when your crime in LA was reaching very significant heights. Today, it's at the highest level it's ever been. Harris also endorsed the Marxist, Soros-backed prosecutor, George Gascon, to be district attorney of Los Angeles. And with Kamala's support, Gascon has unleashed hell upon the residents of Los Angeles, absolute hell. Kamala supported Gascon's decision to stop prosecuting criminals for trespassing, disturbing the peace, making criminal threats, loitering to commit prostitution, and resisting arrest. And these are some of the best areas in your state. They were left alone. They were protected by him, actually protected by him. They've been trying to get him out for a long time, but she helped. And this is where she's coming from as president. This is where she's coming from. This is why all of her policies changed. She was anti-fracking. She was anti-everything. And all of a sudden, she changed. Even the first question she was given at the debate gave one of the dumbest answers. They were asking about pricing and would you be better off today or 4 years ago? Prices have gone up at numbers that nobody's ever seen before. And just the concept of being better off, she didn't give the answer. She talked about when she grew up, nobody knew what the hell she was talking about. And based on the polls, it didn't work because Rasmussen, as you probably saw, just came out, and they just lifted me up by 6 points for president, which is one of the biggest increases they've ever had in one little short period of time of a couple of days, up 6 points. And I thought the debate was great. I thought I did very well, but I was fighting three people. I was fighting the crazy left radical lunatics at ABC, I think considered the worst, by me, considered the worst broadcaster out there. George Slobodanopoulos, that whole group, they're bad. And I lost a lot of respect for David Muir. He came at me with things, and we'll go over it in a second, but I was right about the crime stats going way up. The fact is the FBI didn't report them, and we're able to keep the stats essentially flat. But the new numbers came in. I guess somebody in government likes me because the new numbers were just released, and you'll see the kind of numbers that we're talking about went not only up, but up at record levels like nobody's seen before when everything was included. And thanks to Kamala, since 2020, crime and drug overdose deaths here have skyrocketed by 40, 50, and 60%. And murder has reached an all-time high. We don't want this for our country. That's why I'm doing this. I don't like doing this, other than I know you all have the nicest view you're going to ever have. But somebody's got to explain this one. There's a radical left, Marxist, communist, fascist. As borders are, she then launched a colossal invasion of California's southern border. Just yesterday, the Wall Street Journal reported that a Venezuelan gang is expanding its deadly reach in the United States. First sentence of the story begins, U.S. law enforcement officials have watched with alarm the spread of a Venezuelan gang known for dismembering people, right? Dismembering people. From Chile to Colombia, they're all over the place. Now they're in our country. They're known as MS-13. They're considered the meanest, toughest gang in the world. In Long Island, not so long ago, two young 16-year-old girls were walking to school, and they carved them up with a knife. They killed both of them. They carved them up with a knife. They didn't want to shoot them. And we got them out. I got them out so fast, and we did a big number. And I wanted to thank ICE while I'm at it, because ICE has been unbelievable. Border Patrol has been unbelievable. And she wants to get rid of ICE. She wants to dismember ICE. She wants to take them out. And if you didn't have ICE, you'd have a problem in this country. ICE would go in. I remember in Long Island with us, they had a gang that was brutal, MS-13 gang. They came out of prisons from different places. And they formed, for whatever reason, Long Island seems to be a place. And I'll never forget the scene of ICE going into a rat's nest, they call them, when you have a lot of them together, rat's nest. And they walked into that nest, and you just saw arms and fists and feet. Everybody was flying. And 3 minutes later, he saw it. 3 minutes later, they walked out with these guys, dragging them out by their feet and throwing them into paddy wagons and bringing them into jails. And then we got them out of the country and moved them back to where they came from, which Obama was unable to do when he was president. Obama was unable to do because the countries wouldn't participate. They wouldn't allow him back. But I called those countries, three of them. Guatemala, take a look. Mexico, too, to a large extent. And I think probably the worst of all, we had four countries. Colombia was rough. We had four in South America. But the South America is no longer the problem. We have bigger problems elsewhere. Guatemala, a lot of problems in Guatemala. A lot of bad people coming out. We called, I said, let me speak to the president. I told him, you're not getting any more foreign aid. We got $750 million a year. I said, no more foreign aid. Why? Because you send people over in caravans and you won't take them back, and they're criminals, and we don't want them in this country. And you wouldn't take them back with Obama. They would put planes on the runways, big planes on the runways, so you couldn't land the planes loaded up with prisoners. And I said, that's okay. You can keep doing it. We're not paying you 10 cents. And they called me back 20 minutes later. One of them the next day, three countries. And they said, we would be honored to take MS-13 back. We like them very much. We're wonderful people. And we got them out by the thousands and thousands. We got them out. And that I attribute to ICE and Border Patrol. They're incredible people. Not only is Comrade Howard, I mean, if you take a look at this, but not only is Comrade Kamala allowing illegal aliens to stampede across our border, but then it was announced about a year ago that they're actually flying them in. Nobody knew that. They were secretly flying in hundreds of thousands of people. Some of the worst murderers and terrorists you've ever seen. They were taking anybody that wanted to come in. And they're flying them in. So when they tell you about their borders a little bit better than it used to be, they only did that for election reasons. Not good, but it's a little bit better. But they don't tell you that the flights are still coming in here, bringing in thousands and thousands of illegal aliens. And they're being dropped into the midsection of our country. Because all states are really border states right now. And I'm the border president. I solved it in 2016, probably got elected because of that in 2016. And really, there was nothing to do in 2020. I said to my people, I want to talk about the border, what a job I did. They said, sir, nobody cares you did it. It was good. We went from a terrible border to a great border very quickly. We did a great job. And then I come in and I look at what's happening now. And the only difference is that the border in 2016 was 1/20th what it is now. We have the worst border in the history of the world. There's never been a border like this. And I want to be the border president. And I hope you call me the border president because I'm going to show you what a border security job we can do. And we're going to do a job like never has been done before. There's never been a border like this. I believe the real number is 21 million people are here, and many are thugs, criminals. And remember this, if you go to South America and if you go to these countries that have taken their prisoners out of their jails to empty their jails and dumped them into the United States like we're a dumping ground, you're going to see their crime rates have gone down by 50, 60, 70, and 80%. If you look at Caracas, Venezuela, they took their criminals and drug dealers and rapists off the street and they dumped them into the United States of America. Dumping ground, they call it. We're a dumping ground for Venezuela because we have stupid people running our country. And you think Biden's bad? This one's going to be worse than Biden. Over the past 3.5 years, Kamala has resettled 500,000 illegal migrants from Haiti into American communities, including over 200,000 who Kamala has illegally flown into the United States by airplane when they couldn't get through the border because the border guards backed up. They were refusing to let them in. They don't want it. They love this country. They're saying, you can't do this to our country. They flew them in right over the top of the border guards, and they're doing it right now. They're doing it right now. In Springfield, Ohio, 20,000 illegal Haitian migrants have descended upon a town of 58,000 people, destroying their way of life. They've destroyed the place. And people don't like to talk about it because even the town doesn't like to talk about it because it sounds so bad for the town. They live there. They're proud. They love the town. For years, it was a great place, safe, nice. Now they have 20,000, and I actually heard today it's 32,000. It's the new number. Illegal aliens are now coming in from all over the world, from prisons, jails, mental institutions. They're coming in at levels that we've never seen before. We cannot let this happen to our country. And I will be your border president. And I hope you call me a border president. I never thought I'd have to say that again because we fixed the border and now it was 100% beautiful. And that includes fentanyl and drugs and everything else. We had it fixed and now nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I guess they want to do it because we built hundreds of miles of wall and we had hundreds of miles, I said, after we completed, much more than I said I was going to complete. And it had a huge impact. But after I completed it, we had all of this wall to be put up. It could have been put up in 200 miles, could have been put up in 3 weeks, would have been totally sealed and much larger than I originally said, but it worked so well. We were doing so well. And not only didn't they put it up, they sold much of it for 5 cents on the dollar. Very expensive wall, has wires inside of it for technology. Hardened steel, hardened concrete, and rebar. They wanted all three. I did it as per the Border Patrol. I disagreed with the look. They said, sir, this is the only way. We had to put a anti-climb panel on top. The panel on top is an anti-climb panel. I said, I don't like the way it looks. They say, I know, but it stops people from climbing. I said, all right, we'll do it the way you want. A president has a duty to keep you safe. Kamala will turn America into a poor, violent, third world refugee camp. It already sort of is. We have elections that are a mess, and we have a border that's the worst of any border ever in the world. There's never been a country ever in the world that's allowed 21 million people to come across in a short period of time. And children and the children of American citizens are at the mercy of barbaric criminals. You take a look at what's happening in Colorado. The governor's afraid to even talk about it. The governor, he's a Democrat. Colorado, I hope you're going to vote for Trump because you're being stampeded by your own politicians. The governor can't talk about it because he can't go against the policies of these lunatics that want all these people to come into our country without knowing who they are. We don't even know where they come from. As of last week, I was told by Tom Homan, we had 168 countries represented over the last 12 months. In other words, people came in illegally from 168 different countries. Most people don't know there's that many countries. There's more than that in the world. We'll know them all pretty soon, I'm sure. In breaking news yesterday, the premier statistical agency at the Justice Department, you remember where David Muir tried to correct me when I said that crime is rampant like never before. He said, oh, no. He said, crime is going down. I said, where are you coming from? And, you know, you wouldn't have to need a Bureau of Justice statistics to know that crime is worse than it's ever been. And I guess they probably watched the debate and they heard this foolish man, this foolish fool make that statement to me that, no, crime is coming down. The FBI said it was coming down. The FBI defrauded everybody. Because what they did is they used statistics, not including some of the worst areas and some of the worst cities. So the real numbers are from the Bureau of Justice Statistics, and they just released it. So I think they probably like me because they wanted to defend me from people that are not smart, from a guy who has good hair, but not as good as it was 5 years ago, to be honest. And they just released brand new numbers just out last night, late, showing that since 2020, so this guy, David Muir, was correcting me, the FBI. Now, the FBI defrauded, just like they defrauded on the jobs, 118,000 jobs that didn't exist. The FBI, in this case, defrauded. So violent crime, just out, nationwide is up 40%. Rape is up 42%. Car theft is up 42%. Aggravated assaults are up 55%. And violent attacks on strangers are up much more than 61%. So those are your numbers. See, those are the numbers. Now, I think he corrected me 11 times. Of the 11 times, I don't think he had the right to correct me at all. Didn't correct her once. Like on Project 2025, I have no idea about. It had nothing to do with me. He didn't correct her. He knew that. Charlottesville, nothing was done wrong. All you had to do is read my statement, one more sentence, and you would have seen that. Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Jesse, all of them, Greg Gutfeld, they all took that and they corrected it many times, but they keep coming with the same lies. I'm going to save Social Security. And I'm going to make it good, and we're not going to raise the age, just as I did for 4 years when many Democrats wanted me to do something about it. And she'll go around saying, oh, Trump is going to do bad things to Social Security. No, she's going to do, because she's putting these illegal immigrants onto Social Security, onto Medicare, and she's going to destroy those programs, and the people are going to have to pay. But I'm going to save them. But David Muir said exactly, I quote, President Trump, as you know, this is after I made the statement that crime is at record numbers. President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is coming down in this country. Now, anybody that says it's coming down, when you look at all of the migrant crime and all of the other crime, and this doesn't even include most of the migrant crime. So it's up 55, 65, 75, and 85 One case, one category is up 89%. And these numbers have just been released by the government. I appreciate the person that released them. I think he came to my defense, actually. But the people understand it. In fact, he was wrong. The FBI totally fudged the numbers. And I really believe it's actually a fraud what the FBI did. It's a fraud. And it was a fraud when the administration, I call it the Kamala, because I don't even know who our president is anymore. Where is this guy? They took it away. This was an overthrow of the president of the United States. This was a coup. You got 14, think of it. You got 14 million votes. You got no votes. She was the first one that lost, and now I'm running against her. They went in. I was 19 points up in the poll. I saw their poll. They went up after the debate with Biden. I have debates with everybody. But the first debate, we had two debates. We didn't have one. First, I had Biden, and he was 19 to 21 down. And they went, that's when they went, and they said, you can't win. You're going to get out. And he said, no, I'm not. I'm not going to get out, which was his right to say. They said, well, if you don't get out, we're going to execute the 25th Amendment. And he said, like I said, I'm going to get out. And he hates her beyond I think he hates her probably almost as much as he hates me. I think he still hates me a little bit more. But he hates her. He hates her. He hates what she did. And, when they talk about democracy, well, that's not democracy. He had 14 million votes. She had none. And she was the first one out of the 22 people or so that ran as a Democrat. She never made it to Iowa, first state. She never made it to Iowa. She was the first one out, and now she's running. So you tell me how that works. They wanted to be politically correct, that's all. But we're not going to let her destroy our country. In fact, the David Muir character, he's lost so much respect. Everyone's talking about him. He's a joke. And ABC News is a joke, too. But most of the fake news is pretty much of a joke. He said that the FBI, and he didn't know this, I guess, at the time. He probably did. But the numbers and the cities that weren't included in those numbers were Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, New Orleans, and many others of similar crime numbers. In other words, so they didn't include the worst crime numbers in the country. Look at those numbers. Chicago's not included. Los Angeles not included. So they could say the numbers are flat, but they didn't include the big boys. And that's a fraud on the public. And as I said, it was a fraud also, just like with so it's 818,000 jobs that they said existed that didn't exist. And they thought they could hold the number off until after the election, anytime after November 5th. But that didn't work out because they had a whistleblower that released the numbers. And then you have Kamala's claim that she worked at McDonald's. She never worked at McDonald's. It's a lie. They went in, they investigated it, and the fake news won't report that. They won't report it. The only one that reported it was Fox, but the fake news won't. She never worked at McDonald's. She said she stood over those French fries when they were being fried, and it was so tough work. She never worked there. She's a liar. She's a liar. But the fake news ought to report she's a liar, because that sounds like a little thing, but it's a big thing, because it tells you they lie. They lie about everything. They lie about statements on the military. Nobody loves the military more than me. She got up today. She said things that were just lies. She's just made up. What's bad for Trump? Oh, this would be, say something bad about the military. Oh, he said bad about the military. Just like McDonald's, a total lie. It's the way they do it. And her VP choice, I think, will go down as a catastrophic choice. Now, maybe I'll be wrong. I'll let you know on November 6th. But I can't believe that guy is an asset. They had other people that would have been. Comrade Kamala Harris and the communist left have also destroyed the economy and the quality of life all across this state and all across our country. As vice president, what she's done to our country is not even thinkable. California has the highest inflation, the highest taxes, the highest gas prices, the most illegal aliens, the most regulations, the most expensive utilities, and it ranks as the third worst state to start a business. It also has the most people leaving it. I love this place. Look at this. I own this. No partners, no mortgage, no nothing. I own it. And I'm talking so badly about the state. It hurts me to do it. I would never do this except for the fact that I'm running for president and I want to save the country. So I'd rather sacrifice this than lie or not speak. But think of it. I'm knocking the hell out of the state of California. I'm saying how bad she was and what a bad job she's done. What a horrible governor Newsom has been. He's been horrible. So many people leaving. And I'm hurting my own property. And that cost me lots of money. But it's okay because this is unimportant compared to saving the United States of America. So I do it for that reason. But those are the numbers, what Kamala Harris's policies will do to America. The cost of living here is nearly 40% higher than the national average. And the cost of housing is 97% higher. And the national average is through the roof. And it all took place in the last 3.5 years because I had no inflation, essentially no inflation. And it stayed that way for 2 years. So it wasn't like, oh, gee, it was ready to pop. No, we had it done. We had it down to a science. We had no inflation, 1.4%, which is perfect. That's better than no. That's a perfect number. If you go to the economist, they said, because you want a little bit, but you don't want much. It's a perfect number. It was perfect. The country was perfect. We were drilling. We were taking it out. Now we're buying our oil from Venezuela. It's not even believable. It's interesting. They give him billions of dollars now, Maduro, the dictator. I call him the owner of Venezuela. They give him billions and billions of dollars, but then they foreclose on his plane. They take away an old junky plane. It's not a good plane. They take away an old junky plane. And I said, well, it's okay. He'll buy a much better one. We give him, think of it, a country takes away his airplane, but pays him billions of dollars for their oil, which is the worst oil on the planet. It's tar. And it has to be refined. There's only one plant in the entire world that can refine that junk. And you know where it's located? In Houston, Texas, for the environmentalists. So Houston, Texas is refining tar, and that stuff is going up into the air. It's the only place in the whole world that can refine that very bad stuff. The state is rapidly going busted with a record $68 billion budget deficit last year, $68 billion deficit for a state. And the government is so incompetent that it costs $1.7 million to install a single public toilet in San Francisco. They built a toilet for $1.7 million. And it's not even nice. I saw pictures of it. I built this whole thing for less than that. Unsurprisingly, more Americans are now leaving California than any other state in the union, and over 500 companies have left since 2020. It hurts me to say it. Look, I have this unbelievably valuable asset, and here I am knocking the hell. I'm sitting here thinking, and I know this, I've known it for every time I speak badly of New York. We have a very bad attorney general there. She's a political hack who got elected saying, I will get Trump, I will get Trump, I will get him, Letitia James. And they had a phony case where they value a house that's worth $1 billion to $1.5 billion at $18 million. The judge was corrupt. And she's corrupt, very corrupt person. It's a political hack. And then we have the other cases that they're all headed up by the White House. They sent their people in, one person in particular, but they sent their people in to head up the cases in the state. They sent their people in from the DOJ in Washington, highest officials, to go to Letitia James, work there, get that started, and then go to the DA in Manhattan. But I think the appellate courts are going to see what's happening. I really do. I believe in that. But it's hurting New York because businesses are moving out of New York because of it. They used a consumer fraud statute, which has never been used before for this, to get me in New York. And I had no jury. You can't have a jury. You're not entitled to a jury. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. But I'm sure, I feel sure that the appellate courts will come in and defend, because otherwise our country is finished. Thing like that can happen. And no company wants to move into New York because of it. Very, very bad for New York. In the face of this crisis, the Kamala Harris Democrats in Sacramento, They're in Sacramento and all over the place. Just passed a bill that I think the governor's rejecting. I hope he rejects, but I think he was given a lot of pressure. $150,000 home loans for only illegal aliens. But the fact that it even passed, I would imagine he'd reject it if he hasn't already done so. They also passed a law that allows state authorities to take children from their parents if they don't, quote, affirm their child's gender identity. When Kamala Harris said the values that she has have never changed, I really think that was probably the only true statement that she made. They've stayed true, and you look at what they are. They're the same as what they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They want to confiscate your guns. They want to take your guns away. They're going to take your guns away if I'm not elected. Anybody that owns a gun, if you vote for them, you're crazy. Any Jewish person that votes for Kamala is crazy. She wouldn't go to see the prime minister of Israel in Congress. Think of that, because she had a sorority party, which she considered to be more important. It's a big deal when a prime minister comes to Congress and speaks, and she doesn't want to go because she's at a sorority party. But that wasn't really the reason. The really reason is that she hates Israel. And I say that Israel will not exist in 2 years from now if she's elected president. And she'll be very happy if that happened. Israel will not mark me down. You know, they have a hat, and I didn't put it. They say, you know, Trump was right about everything. I've been right about everything. So I end on that, and I just want to say that I'm going to hopefully be elected. Polls have gone way up since the debate. I'm going to be reelected and come in for a second time. We did, as I said, much better the second time than we did the first, but some bad things happened. But we're doing it now, and more importantly, I'm looking to the future. We're going to make our country bigger, better, greater than ever before. We're going to turn it around. We're going to get rid of the criminals that have been allowed to come into our country and prey upon our citizens, their children. We're going to get them out. And it's an honor that you're here. If you'd like to take some questions. No? No, excuse me. Most of my Republican allies had said I was great in the debate. You're just like, you know, a lot of other people at Fox. Well, why don't you say most 94% of the Republicans said I did phenomenally in the debate. Some said that I could have been tougher. I don't know how I could have been tougher when I said he's the worst president and she is the worst vice president in the history of our country. 94% of the Republicans, and the only one that wouldn't, maybe a Mitt Romney or somebody like that. But we've gotten great praise for the debate. And based on the polls, like Rasmussen being up 6 today, the first poll out, based on the polls, obviously, I did well in the debate. Also, based on the debate polls, where I sometimes had, in one case, 92% win. So, you know, look, you come from Fox. You shouldn't play the same game as everybody else. Go ahead. Go ahead. Well, I don't know what they would say. Laura's been a supporter of mine, just like a lot of people are supporters, and she's been a supporter of mine. She speaks very positively of campaign. I'm not sure why you asked that question, but Laura is a supporter. I don't control Laura. Laura has to say what she wants. she's a free spirit. Well, I don't know. I mean, look, I can't tell Laura what to do. Laura's a supporter. I have a lot of supporters. But I don't know what exactly you're referring to. That's okay. Yeah, please. I just don't know. Laura's a supporter. I don't know. She is a strong person. She's got strong opinions, and I don't know what she said, but that's not up to me. She's a supporter. Please. Okay, a lot of people do. It's a very big plane. Well, I have to see what the remarks are. You're telling me for the first time we're here discussing the destruction of San Francisco and California by a person that's running for president. So I don't even know what you're talking about. I do know that she may have said something based on what you're telling me, but I don't know what she said. But I'll go take a look and I'll put out a statement later on. But I really don't know. Please. Yes. Well, we could, and maybe we'll do that. Where are you from? That's good. Very good. They're doing a very good job. Yeah, that's very good. No, I will, maybe Springfield, maybe Aurora, maybe both. We'll go there. I can say this, we will do large deportations from Springfield, Ohio, large deportations. We're going to get these people out. We're bringing them back to Venezuela. You know, he told Biden he's not accepting anybody back. They moved all their criminals, not all of them, but the rest are moving in now. They emptied their jails in Venezuela, emptied their criminals, emptied the nests. They call them nests of bad people. They're all now in the United States, and they're now taking over cities. It's like an invasion from within. And we're going to have the largest deportation in the history of our country. And we're going to start with Springfield and Aurora. Okay? No. The real threat is what's happening at our border, because you have thousands of people being killed by illegal migrants coming in and also dying. You have women dying as they come up. They're coming up in large groups. We call it a caravan. I think I came up with that name, but it's really what it is. 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 people. And you have large numbers of women being killed in those caravans coming up to this country. And then when they get here, they can go into the country and they end up being sex slaves and everything else. Those are your real problems, not the problem that you're talking about. Yeah, okay. Well, you know, if you go to the people of California, they don't want to have sanctuary cities anymore. They're tired of sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities are really blocks that protect bad people from deportation and other problems. And they're going to do it. And our federal government has tremendous power. But we're not going to let states, even like California, even though I know it's largely a sanctuary state, essentially, but we're not going to let that happen to the people of California. They want these people out. They're just as scared as everybody else. The people of Ohio are scared. The people of Colorado, you have a governor there who's very weak. He doesn't know what to do. And he doesn't want to talk about it. A lot of it, as per your question, they don't want to talk about what's happening. They say it's so bad for the city. Let's not go public. Let's live with it for a little while. Maybe it'll go away. It's not going to go away. It's going to get worse. It's going to get so bad. You know what we're experiencing now is they're just getting settled in. There's 21 million people that have come in. They're just getting settled in. It's going to get much worse. It's going to get worse at a level like nobody's ever seen before. Go ahead. Yeah, that's right. By lowering taxes and regulations. And what they're doing is they're seeing that every time it looks like Kamala's doing well, companies want to leave. Stock markets go down. The stock market, there's a great gentleman, Scott Bessent, who is one of the top Wall Street people. He said the market's only up because they all think that Trump is going to get elected. We had a great stock market. Even with COVID, we ended up handing over a market that was higher than previous to COVID or the China virus coming in. No, we are going to make sure that the taxes are going to stay where they are and or come down, ideally come down, both for the middle class and for corporations, because corporations put the people to work. We had the best numbers in the history of our country by far, not even close. And there are companies leaving because they cannot stand what's happening right now to our country. And one of the reasons I'm doing this today is to let them know you're not going to have to leave because we're going to take care of the problem. They have a tremendous crime problem. Like if you're in Los Angeles, look at the crime numbers. And then you have the FBI lying about the numbers, saying the numbers went down. But anybody with common sense know the numbers are through the roof. I didn't know they were as high as they are. But think of it. How good is a person from a government agency that would release the numbers when they saw that I was unfairly targeted by ABC, and you could say by the FBI with false numbers. So, I mean, I have great respect. I have to find out who that person is or who that group is, but I have great respect. Go ahead, one more. You okay? I'll be able to make phone calls and solve most of the problems. I may actually have to meet a couple of times. But, you know, Viktor Orban, and you've heard me say this, but it wasn't long ago. He said the only way you're going to solve the world problem is Trump has to be president again. And I don't say it. I didn't say it. I sort of would be embarrassed to say it. But he said everybody was afraid of Trump. He said China was afraid. Russia was afraid. North Korea was afraid. Everybody was afraid. We had no wars. We defeated ISIS in 4 weeks. And they said it was going to take 5 years, right? The generals in Washington. I went there and met a great general and some great people. And I said, go to it. And he took them out in 4 weeks, 100% of the ISIS caliphate. I flew there. I flew to Iraq, to the field, and they took them out in a very short period of time, short order. We have a great military, but, you know, a great military needs a leader. If you don't have leaders, then you end up with Afghanistan, the worst withdrawal from a country in the history. Look, I've gotten to know great people. I went to Arlington at their request, and I stood, and I was with them for hours, and I stood with them. They did a ceremony, and then they asked me if I'd go down to the graves of their children. They called them their children, that they always will be their children. And there were tears all over, as there should be. And they said, sir, could you take pictures with me by the grave of my son, in one case, a daughter? And I said, I'd love to. And I took pictures with them for a while, and then I left, and that was it. And I got home, and I got a call from the people in the campaign. Sir, the Biden people are saying that you did this for publicity. If people knew how hard it was to get there, because I was coming from a location that was very far away, and yet they were having the ceremony, and I really felt, you know, I had them up to Bedminster, most of the family members, and I got to know them. They're great people. Their sons and daughter, just as though Kamala shot them with a pistol in her hand or his hand, they were killed by Biden and Kamala. They were killed. They should have never left from that airfield. They should have left for Bagram. We should have never given up Bagram. Bagram now is controlled by China. The reason we shouldn't have given it up was not because of Afghanistan. The reason we shouldn't have given it up, 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons, and I wasn't giving it up. We were getting out quickly and effectively. I'm the one that got the numbers down to less than 5,000 soldiers. But I would have never left unless they fulfill their obligations under an agreement. I had a wonderful agreement, but the agreement said you have to do this, this, this. They didn't do 3 of the first 5 things, so therefore they would have done it. Abdul was the leader, and he wouldn't have done it, and he would have never done that to us. And just in finishing up with that, and I appreciate the question, actually, but in finishing up with that, for 18 months, spoke to Abdul over the phone. For 18 months, not one American soldier was shot or killed. Not one American soldier was even shot at. Abdul understood. Don't do it. I said, don't do it, Abdul. Don't do it. And for 18 months, not one soldier was even shot at. And that's the way it's supposed to be, right? And then they had that horrible situation with the 13 dead, leaving billions of dollars of equipment behind. And leaving a lot of Americans behind, a lot of Americans. And you know what else? Leaving a lot of soldiers badly wounded. Nobody ever talks about them, but I do. Well, I would have a great relationship with them. And what you have to do is start all over again. You cannot have these policies of high taxation. You can't have these policies of politics where you go after your politicians. You have to have an honest voting system because, you know, you don't have an honest voting system. They send out millions and millions of ballots. They go all over the place. Some people get 2, 3, 4, 5. You have a very dishonest system over here. If I ran with an honest vote counter in California. I would win California, but the votes are not counted honestly. It's a very dishonest system that you have in California, and I'd make it business friendly. Right now, it's business unfriendly. Look, Elon Musk is a friend of mine. He endorsed me very powerfully. He endorses me every time he speaks. He really wants to see us win because he knows we can do a great job and turn it around. He left California. I said to him, Elon, did anybody ever call you? It's a big company. He moved to Texas. A lot of people moving to Texas. Great state. Excellent governor and excellent lieutenant governor. Great people. They love entrepreneurs. They love the people that live there. They want to keep their taxes low. Taxes are way too high here. But I said to Elon, so you have a big company and you're moving it to Texas from California. Did anybody call you like the governor to try and get you to stay? No. Did anybody see you, write a letter, do anything to try and keep you to stay? You have thousands of jobs. He said, nobody ever called. There'd be so many things you could do. This would be the easiest place to turn around if they knew what to do. Look at it. I mean, look at the weather. We're standing out here on the Pacific Ocean in the most beautiful weather. A lot of states don't have weather like this. They don't have Pacific Oceans. So it's many things you could do, but you start with lowering taxes and making it friendly. But think of it, Elon Musk, a great guy, brilliant guy, big company, lots of jobs, leaving. Nobody even calls him to try and get him to stay. I would have been on him. I would have said, let's have lunch, let's have dinner, and then let's have breakfast the following morning, right? I would have tried to talk him out of it. Yeah, go ahead, please. No, I don't know that much about it. No, I don't. I know she's a big fan of the campaign, but I really don't know. I would say that, well, she brings a spirit to us that a lot of people have. We have very spirited people. And in all fairness to her, she hates seeing what's happened to the country, I guess. I mean, she hates seeing what's happened to the country. So do I. It's very sad. It's very sad when I have to stand out here on my property and say how bad California is. Did you have another one? They are. Well, we're going to help them. And I told John, the local mayor, but I told John we're going to help him with his slide problem. You know, there are ways of fixing that. We discussed it. He knows better than anybody. And he needs help from the federal government. He needs help from the state government. And it's a very wealthy area. But you also have people living here that are elderly and have fixed incomes and have houses that are going to be, you know, shoved into the Pacific Ocean if something's not done. And he wants it taken care of. He's a great mayor. He wants it taken care of. He wants nothing for himself. He just wants to help these people. And John, I think you said you have about 600 houses on the site that's sliding. And he'd like to be able to save those houses for people, that some of which will never be able to have a house again. You know, it's pretty sad. No, I'm not selling. No, I love it. I mean, I use it as a method of getting out my word. You know, when it opened, it went way high, but then the SEC gave us nothing but problems. We had to go through a long process with the SEC. But people think that I'm leaving. That's why they're down. Because if I leave, you know, it's different if I leave. But I'm not leaving. I love it. I think it's great. Mechanically, it works the best. And again, I'm friendly with Elon, and Elon would love me to come over to X, but I just, you know, I have close to 100 million people on X. I had 230 million people on X, and then they shut me down. And I said, I'm not going to let that happen again. You know that. I had hundreds of millions of people on X, at Facebook and Instagram. I think more than anybody. Zuckerberg told me at the White House, he said, congratulations, you're number one on Facebook. This is a number of years ago. And then all of a sudden I went from being number one to having no voice. And after about 2 or 3 weeks, because I have a lot to say, I put out old-fashioned press statements, like a press statement. And they got really successful and they did very well. And then we built this platform. And the reason I built it is because I don't want to have my voice shut down. But a lot of people think that I'll sell my shares. You know, they're worth billions of dollars, but I don't want to sell my shares. I'm not going to sell my shares. I don't need money. And it is a great, for me, it's a great voice. It's a great voice. And it's a voice, it works so well. And we just won, as you know, we got final approval from the SEC. It took us a long time. And that really turned it off. You know, when I originally opened that stock, it went from about 2 to about 182. Did you know that? It was the biggest increase in the history of the stock market. I believe, you know, I have to say I believe, because you're going to find one company, maybe, who knows, but I believe it was the single biggest movement. And I think I was worth 61 billion from that one stock. And then we had nothing but problems with the SEC. And it gets whittled down, down, down. But I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I really wanted to have a strong voice. And it's a great voice for me. And as long as my voice is on there, it's going to always be good. But a lot of people think the reason it's down is that a lot of people think I'm going to sell. And if I sell, it wouldn't be the same. I can understand that. But I have absolutely no intention of selling. Okay?
You started talking about this community of Palos Verdes. You talked about California. We have fires raging to the east.
I agree. I agree.
What will you do to help people in this state whose homes are being damaged again and again, or are falling, off of these cliffs right behind us, or burned down, or for the people across the country whose homes are jeopardized by natural disaster?
This is my favorite question of the day. You're asking me what would I do for, let's talk California first. Is that okay? You mind? So I was riding with Devin Nunes and some congressmen 4 years ago. I was riding up north in California. And I looked at these fields that were massive. I was telling John, right? My favorite question. I love that somebody would ask me this question. And I never told you to do it, right? Who are you with?
Spectrum News.
Good. Spectrum. It's good. New, hot, right? It's hot. It's doing well. But that's because you ask good questions. So what happened, I'm saying why I look at this field, and it's massive. And in the middle of the field is a little spot of the most green, plush land you've ever seen. I said, and then I'd see another one, these little plots, like 1 and 2 acres. And you'd have 1,000 acres that's barren and dead and dark. And I said, what's the problem here? What is that green acreage? You know, the soil is unbelievably fertile, but they have no water. I said, so do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. We have the water is cut off upstate, up in the north. You know that? And the water, in order to protect a certain little tiny fish called a smelt, they send millions and millions of gallons of water out to the Pacific Ocean, way up north, never even gets close to here. And you know, in Los Angeles and Beverly Hills, all these rich areas, they want to give you like 38 gallons of water to use. You buy a house for a lot of money and then you're allowed to use 38 gallons of water. But you have no water down here. And the reason you have no water, you have the canals. The reason you have no water is because Gavin Newsom didn't want to do it. I had it all done. I had the Department of Commerce at the time. Believe it or not, they're the ones that rule on this particular issue. So you have millions of gallons of water pouring down from the north with the snow caps in Canada and all pouring down. And they have essentially a very large faucet. And you turn the faucet, and it takes 1 day to turn it. It's massive. It's as big as the wall of that building right there behind you. And you turn that, and all of that water goes aimlessly into the Pacific. And if they turned it back, all of that water would come right down here and right into Los Angeles. They wouldn't have to have people not use more than 30 gallons and 32 gallons. They want to do that, you know, they're trying to do that. And you have so much water, and all those fields that are right now barren, the farmers would have all the water they needed. And you could revert water up into the hills where you have all the dead forests, where the forests are so brittle. Because no place is like California. I go to Austria. The head of Austria tells me, you know, we have trees that are much more flammable than what you have in California. We never have forest fires because they maintain their forests. And you have all that water that could be used as water, what they call water flow, where where the land would be damp. And you'd stop many of these horrible fires that are costing billions and billions of dollars by the federal government, et cetera. So one thing I'm going to do for California, vote for me, California. I'm going to give you safety. I'm going to give you a great border. And I'm going to give you more water than almost anybody has. And the farmers up north are going to be able to use 100% of their land, not 1% of their land. And the water is going to come all the way down to Los Angeles, and you're going to have more water than you ever saw. And the smelt is not making it anyway. In fact, they make and grow smelt because it dies all the way up and down the line, and they put stuff that was artificially made. You know that. So you're going to have water in California at a level that you've never seen before. The farmers are going to do great. Those fields are going to be all green instead of 1% green. And maybe even more important, you're not going to have illegal immigrants pouring into your country and killing your family. You're not going to have the problems that you have right now. We're going to lower your taxes. We're going to bring the car industry back because your car industry is gone. We're bringing it back to Detroit at levels that you'll never see again. We'll bring it back to better than it was 30 years ago. But with this group, everything is dead. The automobile industry is dead. The water coming here is dead. And Gavin Newsom is going to sign those papers. And if he doesn't sign those papers, we won't give him money to put out all his fires. And if we don't give him the money to put out his fires, he's got problems. He's a lousy governor. And he treated me very nicely, and I treated him very nicely when I was president. But he's done a lousy job. But there's a case. I said, Gavin, will you sign? It took him like a month and a half or 2 months, and then he decided for political reasons. And then we got hit with COVID, and we had to solve another problem. But you're going to have so much money, Mr. Mayor. You're going to have so much money from economic activity and growth. And you're going to have water like you never thought. Now, in your case, maybe you don't want so much water. But we'll bypass your beautiful area. But we have tremendous amounts, millions of gallons of water that's shoved right into the Pacific Ocean where it doesn't make a dent. And all of that water is going to take care of California. And nobody can make a bigger promise than that. You're not going to have to do desalinization plants, which a lot of people want to do. Very expensive to do, but it's better than the alternative of no water. So California, vote for Trump. And you're going to have water, and you're going to have growth, and you're going to have prosperity. And all those people that are leaving are going to really come back. Thank you very much.
Why haven't you endorsed Steve Garvey? Why have you not endorsed